Season 1 of Pretty Little Liars introduces 5 high school best friends: Aria Montgomery, Emily Fields, Hanna Marin, Spencer Hastings, and Alison DiLaurentis. The friend group fractures when their leader Alison mysteriously goes missing without a trace. 1 year later, the others are all living separate lives and struggling with their own personal issues. Spencer has devoted her time to academics with the hopes of becoming Rosewood High's top student. Emily is still grieving the loss of Alison, who she was secretly in love with. Hanna has become the most popular girl in school alongside her new best friend Mona, whom Alison used to bully, and Aria returns from a year-long trip to Iceland with her family. The estranged friends all begin receiving anonymous messages from a mysterious figure known only as A, who threatens to publicly expose all of their darkest secrets. The girls first suspect that the missing Alison is the mysterious A, but that theory is spoiled when Alison's body is finally discovered long dead. At Alison's funeral, the girls realize that step-siblings Jenna and Toby are in attendance, who become their prime suspects as the mysterious A, as well as the subjects of the dark secrets they wish to remain hidden. Years ago, Alison lied about Toby peeping on the girls while changing, then encouraged them to seek revenge by throwing a stink bomb into his garage. But instead, Alison used a firecracker that inadvertently caught the garage on fire and accidentally blinded Toby's stepsister Jenna. After discovering that the step-siblings were having a secret affair, Alison had blackmailed Toby into taking the blame for the fire, and so Toby now has more than enough reasons to seek revenge against Alison and the rest of the Pretty Little Liars. Amidst this conflict, the rest of the liars are grappling with their own personal issues. Aria is struggling with the secret knowledge that her father Byron cheated on her mother Ella. When A exposes Byron's affair to Ella, the couple decide to separate. Aria is also shocked to discover that her new English teacher Ezra Fitz is in fact the stranger she had met and made out with at a bar the night before. Despite being student and teacher, the pair begin a secret affair. When Ezra discovers that A has become aware of his inappropriate relationship with the student, he begins to pull away from Aria and considers taking a job in New York. Amidst this conflict in their relationship, Aria begins a relationship with a classmate named Noel. Hanna is struggling to keep up her new popular image as her father has abandoned their family, leaving her mother Ashley with no way to uphold their lavish lifestyle. In turn, Hanna begins shoplifting while Ashley begins stealing money from a wealthy client at the bank. Amidst this, Hanna begins dating her longtime crush Sean, who paid little mind to her before she got popular. When bullied classmate Lucas develops a crush on Hanna, she realizes that he may be a better match for her than the popular Sean. Spencer develops romantic feelings for Ren, the fiance of her older sister Melissa. When Melissa catches Spencer and Ren kissing, she ends her engagement and fractures her relationship with her sister. Eventually, Spencer and Melissa reconcile their relationship as sisters, while Melissa also reconciles with her old ex-boyfriend Ian. Despite having a boyfriend named Ben, Emily is struggling with her sexuality and develops romantic feelings toward a classmate named Maya. Maya becomes frustrated that their burgeoning relationship can't progress due to Emily's fear of being open about her sexuality. To save her burgeoning relationship, Emily finally accepts her sexuality and publicly comes out to her friends and family. Emily's mother can't accept her being gay, and upon catching Maya with drugs, she rats out her daughter's girlfriend to her parents, in turn leading Maya being sent away to camp for 3 months. Emily then develops a rivalry with her swim team captain Paige, who is similarly coming to terms with her sexuality. Eventually, the pair work through their animosity toward each other and share a kiss. Meanwhile, Emily also befriends Toby, despite the other liars suspecting his potential involvement in Alison's death and as the threatening secret identity of the mysterious A. Toby confides in Emily that he had gifted Alison a sweater the night she died that was later discovered covered in her blood. Toby swears he didn't kill Alison, but when he is later apprehended by the police, he believes that Emily ratted him out. As the police begin investigating Alison's death, they suspect her friends may have somehow been involved, even thinking that Emily's unrequited love for Alison may have been a motive for murder. Meanwhile, the FBI discovers a tape of Alison from before her death, in which she is flirting with a mysterious man behind the camera. As the liars continue their own investigation, they realize that Alison's mystery lover is in fact Melissa's past and current boyfriend Ian. But before they can do anything about this revelation, they are shocked to discover that Melissa and Ian have abruptly eloped. As the liars continue their investigation into Alison's killer and the identity of A, Hanna is shockingly run over and left in critical condition. Upon recovering, Hanna reveals that she had seen A and discovered their true identity as Noel. After being confronted, Noel explains that he is not the mysterious A, but instead had discovered Aria's secret affair with Ezra and had simply been trying to leave a threatening message to scare the teacher away from his inappropriate and illegal romance. When Noel tries blackmailing Ezra into giving him better grades, A orchestrates his suspension from school. With Noel out of the picture, Ezra professes his love to Aria and resigns from his position to instead take a job at a nearby college, making their relationship slightly less problematic. Ultimately, the liars set their sights on Ian as their prime suspect in Alison's death, leading them to worry for the safety of his new wife, Melissa. While preparing to bring footage to the police that proved that Ian had been in a relationship with Alison before her death, A frustratingly deletes the files, thwarting the liars' plan. Meanwhile, Toby is released from jail, cleared of having killed Alison. Spencer feels bad about Toby being outcast by everyone and offers to help tutor him in school, leading to the two developing romantic feelings for each other. When the police discover that Spencer and Ian had had a secret affair of their own years prior, proving a pattern in Spencer hooking up with her sister's boyfriends, they suspect that she may have been involved in Alison's death due to jealousy of her relationship with Ian. As the liars continue gathering evidence against Ian, they discover that he is working closely with Jenna, who herself is in a relationship with Officer Garrett, an investigator who believes that the liars may have been involved in Alison's death. The liars also befriend a new student at Rosewood High named Caleb, who has been abandoned by both his biological and foster parents. As the liars seek Caleb's expertise in technology to hack various phones for evidence, Hanna invites the homeless teen to move in with her, leading to the pair falling in love. Unfortunately, the liars then discover that Caleb has been secretly working with Jenna to spy on them. Caleb insists that his feelings for Hanna are real and that he stopped spying after falling for her, but Hanna is devastated, kicking Caleb out of her home. Ultimately, out of his own unrequited love for Hanna, Lucas helps Caleb reunite and reconcile with her. Eventually, Emily discovers that Alison had secretly left her a key before her death, leading her to a flash drive containing various videos someone had stealthily taken of Alison and her friends. The liars theorize that whoever had been spying on them was also probably Alison's killer. The footage also reveals that the inappropriate sexual relationship between step-siblings Toby and Jenna was completely forced onto the unwilling Toby by Jenna. The liars confront Jenna with this knowledge, who in turn confesses that Alison had used the footage to end the step-sibling affair and blackmail her into keeping quiet about who was responsible for burning down the garage and blinding her. Realizing that Ian must have been the person who filmed all of the videos, they blackmail him for $10,000. In the end, Spencer and Melissa are the victims of a hit and run. As Melissa is rushed to the hospital, Ian arrives and chases Spencer to the top of a church bell tower, revealing his plot to murder her and frame her as Alison's killer. As Ian strangles Spencer, a mysterious figure, seemingly A themselves, appears and saves her, pushing Ian off the top of the bell tower to his apparent death. As Spencer reunites with her friends, the police arrive, who discover that the bell tower is empty, Ian's body is gone, and the mystery surrounding Alison's death has gotten even more complicated. The Pretty Little Liars having all of their secrets exposed by the villainous A may be a work of fiction, but when it comes to your own personal and private information online, the threat is very real. I mean, just look at this redacted report, showing what information data brokers could be collecting from you. I'm talking your name, age, address, even the private information of your family, neighbors, and associates, all being sold by data brokers to potential scammers, spammers, and stalkers. This is super scary stuff, and now that my wife and I have just had our first child, I want to be as proactive as possible in protecting our family's online data. And that's where today's sponsor, Aura, comes in. Basically, if you've ever received a spam call or email, it's because a data broker has collected and sold your data. They can do this without your consent and profit billions of dollars selling your personal and private information to marketers, scammers, and even stalkers. While they're legally required to remove your data if asked, they make the entire process confusing, difficult, and exhausting. But Aura takes care of the entire process for you, not only ensuring your data is is removed from these sites but stays gone for good. Maybe you're already using some other digital security service or VPN, but without Aura, that's like locking the front door but leaving the back door unlocked. With just one app, Aura offers alerts if your personal information is found on the dark web, real-time fraud alerts for credit and banking, 24/7 identity theft monitoring, US-based around-the-clock support, plus a VPN, password manager, antivirus, and more. Plus, if anything ever does go wrong, Aura offers $5 million in identity theft insurance. And they have US-based fraud experts available 24/7. So try Aura for free for 14 days at aura.com/recapandchill. In those 2 weeks, Aura will get to work scrubbing your personal information off of these data broker sites. I'm not leaving myself vulnerable, and you shouldn't either. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the recap. In Season 2 of Pretty Little Liars, following all of the chaos created by A, the Liars are forced by their parents to attend grief counseling with a therapist named Dr. Ann Sullivan. The friend group are unsure of how much they should open up to their new therapist about the mysterious A, and their investigation into uncovering the antagonist identity is complicated when Dr. Sullivan instructs their parents to keep them all separated for the sake of their mental health. During this time, Emily remains depressed over her family's imminent move to Texas. She convinces her parents to allow her to stay in Rosewood so she can continue on the swim team in the hopes of earning a college scholarship. And so she moves in with Hanna. Emily's college future is jeopardized when A secretly doses her with steroids, which could get her kicked off the swim team if caught. As Emily emotionally spirals due to the torment she is receiving from A, the Liars decide to help her by finally sharing everything about A with Dr. Sullivan, allowing Emily relief and catharsis. When Maya finally returns from rehab, she and Emily rekindle their relationship. But as their relationship grows strained and Maya is threatened with another stint in rehab, she suddenly vanishes without a trace. Hannah's father has returned to Rosewood alongside his new fiancée. Hanna resists reconciling with her father and quickly develops a rivalry with her soon-to-be stepsister Kate. Hanna finds support in Caleb, who she rekindles her romance with. Spencer grows suspicious that her sister Melissa is secretly in contact with an alive and well Ian. When the Liars follow Melissa to a cabin, they discover Ian's dead body, along with a note confessing that he was Alison's killer. Despite this, the Liars all realize that this note was actually written by A to frame Ian, meaning he was not Alison's killer. When Toby finds a field hockey stick buried in Spencer's backyard, Spencer's father hurriedly burns it, leading the Liars to believe that it may have been Alison's murder weapon. Ezra professes his love for Aria, though their relationship is strained when it's revealed that his ex-fiancée Jackie also teaches at his new college. When Aria finally reveals her relationship with Ezra to her parents, they forbid the pair from continuing to date and try to force Ezra into taking a job outside of Rosewood. As Aria's younger brother Mike begins acting out and committing robberies, he breaks into Officer Garrett's house and steals some of his belongings. Aria realizes the items actually belong to Jenna, leading to the Liars discovering that the pair are in a secret relationship. When Garrett realizes that the Liars believe that Ian was framed for Alison's murder, he grows concerned about his own possible implication. When Alison's older brother Jason arrives in Rosewood, the Liars grow suspicious of Jason's motives, as he had been best friends with Ian, and while in high school they formed something known as the NAT Club, alongside Garrett, Melissa, and Jenna, in which they spied on and filmed various residents of Rosewood without their consent. While investigating Jason, Emily and Spencer break into his shed, discovering spy equipment and multiple secret photos of Aria taken while she was sleeping. When Aria confronts Jason with this revelation, he declares that Alison was the one who took the photos of Aria, and Jason had found them hidden in her room after her death. Despite this, the Liars remain suspicious of Jason, as Spencer's father tells her that a week before Alison's death, she convinced her grandmother to cut Jason out of her will, meaning Jason had a vengeful motive to kill his sister. Despite this, Jason continues to declare his innocence, and even begins helping Spencer uncover more evidence from Alison's murder after the pair shockingly discover that they are in fact half-siblings. Dr. Sullivan then calls the Liars, declaring that she has discovered the true identity of A, as they are one of her patients. But as the girls gather to meet with Dr. Sullivan, they discover that she has gone missing. A forces each of the Liars to complete a task in order to save the therapist's life. Aria is forced to orchestrate the firing of Ezra's ex Jackie, Hanna is forced to sabotage her father's wedding, Spencer is forced to break up with Toby to ensure his protection from A's wrath, and Emily Emily is lured and sealed inside a barn where she succumbs to carbon monoxide poisoning, inducing a vision of the late Alison. Emily is then rescued by the other liars, who are finally given the location of Dr. Sullivan, who has been buried alive. Using a shovel that A has supplied for them, the liars race to dig up Dr. Sullivan, only to discover that they have been tricked. Dr. Sullivan is nowhere to be found, and the police arrive to arrest the girls, declaring the shovel to in fact be the murder weapon used to kill Alison. Fortunately, the liars are all eventually released from prison and forced to partake in community service. More emboldened than ever to finally catch A, they successfully stage a trap. Although the mystery figure escapes, the girls do manage to acquire A's cell phone. Tech whiz Caleb is tasked with pulling any evidence he can from the phone in the hopes of revealing A's true identity, and potentially even uncovering Alison's killer. As Caleb slowly begins decrypting files from the phone, he first finds a video that Ian had filmed the night of Alison's death, arguing with Garrett over missing videos the NAT club had taken of Alison. As the liars get closer to uncovering A's identity, they must continue dealing with their own personal issues. Hannah's new stepsister Kate arrives in Rosewood, and there is immediate conflict between the girls. Despite trying to put aside their differences, Hanna is framed by A, who sends out nude photos of Kate from Hannah's phone, ruining their relationship, painting Hanna as a villain, and garnering Kate public sympathy. Eventually, the liars discover that it was not A but Kate herself who photoshopped the photos to frame Hanna, as part of her resentment toward her new stepsister. Toby wants to reconcile his relationship with Spencer, but she fears for his safety and wants to remain broken up. Toby grows upset towards Spencer and the liars, and so when his manipulative and abusive stepsister Jenna undergoes eye surgery in the hopes of restoring her vision, Toby returns to her side to offer his support. Meanwhile, even Hannah's friend and former target of Alison's bullying, Mona, starts receiving harassing messages from A. She is threatened to turn over Hanna to the police for her past shoplifting antics. A also pressures Mona into manipulating Hanna and Caleb into breaking up. Amidst this, Mona begins dating Noel, though is heartbroken when he breaks up with her to instead begin a relationship with Jenna. As for Jenna, she and Garrett begin to worry that Alison's autopsy report could somehow incriminate them in her murder, so they steal a page of the report to ensure their innocence. When Jenna is then mysteriously lured to Jason's house by A, it is then set on fire in an attempt to kill her. Fortunately, Hanna arrives and saves her. As Jenna's vision begins to return thanks to her surgery, she realizes the autopsy report does not implicate her in Alison's murder in any way, but does imply that Garrett may have been involved. And so, while faking still being blind, Jenna turns the stolen autopsy page over to the police and testifies against Garrett, leading to his arrest for Alison's murder. As the season comes to a close, the liars receive invites from A to attend Rosewood's annual masquerade ball. As the girls split up in the hopes of determining A's identity, Spencer discovers the secret antagonist hideout, filled with various costumes and plots. And that's when Spencer realizes that Mona is A, who then arrives and kidnaps her. Mona explains that she became A after growing jealous of her best friend Hannah's stronger bond with the rest of the liars. As Mona attempts to kill Spencer, the other liars arrive to save their friend. Dr. Sullivan then returns to Rosewood, revealing that her disappearance was due to Mona threatening the life of her child if she didn't leave town. Now, with Mona exposed and defeated, Dr. Sullivan has the villain committed to a mental institution. With A finally taken down, the liars can now return to their normal lives in peace, allowing Spencer and Toby to reconcile. Unfortunately, Emily then learns that the missing Maya's body has been found murdered, while Mona is visited in the mental institution by a mysterious figure, with Mona declaring that she has done everything that she was commanded to do. In season 3 of Pretty Little Liars, 5 months have passed, and as the liars begin their senior year of high school, they learn that Garrett has been accused of both Alison and Maya's murders. Emily is distraught over Maya's death and falls into a depression. After a night of heavy drinking with her friends, Emily wakes up at Alison's gravesite with no idea of how she got there. When the other liars arrive, they discover that the grave has been dug up and Alison's body is missing. A new A then begins messaging the girls, having taken photos of them at the gravesite and framing them for unearthing Alison's body. And so, as the liars attempt to uncover the truth of what happened that night, they must all once again deal with their own personal issues. Aria's mother Ella is a teacher at Rosewood High and secretly helps doctor Emily's grades to save her from failing. Things get awkward when Meredith, the former mistress and current girlfriend of Aria's father Byron, also begins working at the school. When the liars discover that Jenna's eye surgery was in fact a success, Aria befriends her in order to spy on her. Aria is also struggling in her relationship relationship with Ezra, who is currently unemployed due to Aria's parents having him fired due to his relationship with an underage student. As Ezra struggles financially, his ex-girlfriend from high school Maggie shows up with a young son named Malcolm, whom she claims that Ezra fathered. Aria helps Ezra get rehired at Rosewood High and supports him as he steps up to father Malcolm, though she grows concerned that she is not fit to be a stepmother. Maya's cousin Nate arrives in Rosewood and helps Emily grieve her death. Emily realizes that someone must have drugged her the night Alison's grave was exhumed, and tries to uncover who was responsible. Amidst this, she also rekindles her old fling with Paige, though that's complicated when Paige's ex Shauna arrives in town, flirting with literally everyone but Hanna. Unbeknownst to everyone, it's actually Jenna whom Shauna begins a secret relationship with. Meanwhile, Garrett is allowed to temporarily leave prison to be with his mother as she dies. Spencer discovers that Garrett has left a secret note for his mother, declaring that April Rose has the proof. Jason discovers that April Rose is the name of an antique shop, which he and Spencer then investigate. The pair find an old anklet that belonged to Alison, which they turn over to the police. The anklet has two sources of blood on it, Alison's and someone else's. Because that blood doesn't belong to Garrett, he is cleared as Alison's killer. As Nate grows more distraught over his cousin Maya's death, Emily comforts him. Misreading her intentions, Nate kisses her. Despite Emily pulling away and having no feelings for Nate, Paige witnesses the kiss and assumes the worst. After finding Alison's earring in Paige's purse, the liars suspect her to be the new A, despite Emily's feelings and trust for her. Nate then lures Emily to Alison's gravesite, where he reveals himself as actually being a man named Lyndon James, Maya's true killer. Lyndon had fallen in love with Maya while attending rehab camp together, but after Maya broke his heart to reunite with Emily, Lyndon murdered her and now wants to murder Paige to force Emily into feeling the same heartbreak. Emily fights back against Lyndon, fatally stabbing him as Caleb arrives to help. The dying Lyndon shoots Caleb, seriously injuring him before the police arrive. In the end, Caleb is saved, Paige's name is cleared as A, and Maya's killer is dead, bringing Emily a sense of justice. Cleared of both Alison and Maya's murders, Garrett is released from prison. The police officer explains to Spencer more about his actions on the night of Alison's death. Garrett claims that after Jenna and Alison got into a heated argument, Alison had convinced him to use the Hastings family field hockey stick to strike a tree, making the blind Jenna think that he had killed Alison. Garrett has kept up the lie ever since for reasons unknown. Garrett also warned Spencer that he later saw Alison meet with Aria's dad Byron, the last person known to see Alison alive. Garrett then promises to reveal more to Spencer, but unfortunately he is murdered before he gets the chance. Aria realizes that Alison had been blackmailing her father over his then secret affair with Meredith that would later end his marriage. This leads to Aria fearing that her father may have murdered Alison to ensure her silence. Fearing the evidence Aria may have compiled against Byron, Meredith drugs and locks away Aria in the hopes of finding and destroying anything that could be incriminating. Eventually, Byron arrives and frees Aria, swearing that while he had in fact seen Alison the night of her death, he never dared to hurt her. Meanwhile, Mona is released from the Radley Institution and returns to school, declaring her intentions to earn back the trust of the LIARS. Despite this, Mona still works as a member of the A-Team, following the orders of a mystery figure in a red coat. Working alongside Mona as a member of the A-Team is none other than Toby Kavanaugh, who keeps his duplicitous motives a secret from his girlfriend Spencer. When Toby accidentally drops a key that unlocks something for his and Mona's mysterious A-plot, Spencer finds and hides it. When Toby tries to steal the key back, Spencer catches him in the act, heartbreakingly realizing that her boyfriend is in fact a member of the sinister A-Team, leading to their breakup. Struggling with her emotions, Spencer goes on a date with her and her sister Melissa's ex Ren, leading to the two sharing a kiss. Elsewhere, Emily struggles with PTSD from killing Nate and seeks help from Dr. Sullivan. While grappling with her emotions, she also begins remembering more about the night that she was drugged, including seeing that the red coat wearing leader of the A-Team is a blonde woman. Meanwhile, Hanna discovers that Caleb's supposed uncle is actually his biological father, Jamie. Hanna helps Jamie get a job working for the church and reconcile with his estranged son. Unfortunately, Hanna seemingly catches Jamie stealing from the church and warns Caleb, who is furious by this betrayal and admonishes his father. After a distraught Jamie leaves town, Hanna learns that A had framed him, and so Caleb guiltily goes off to find his father to reconcile with him once again. The LIARS then meet Cece Drake, who claims to be an old friend of Alison's and the ex-girlfriend of Jason, though the others have never heard of her before. Cece then tells the LIARS of her own suspicions surrounding Alison's death, including the secret relationship that Alison had been in with Detective Wilden, who is now acting as the lead investigator in her murder. Cece reveals that Alison had confided in her before her death that she was worried that she was pregnant, and so Cece theorizes that Wilden could have been the father and murdered her to ensure that revelation was never exposed. When Wilden learns that Cece has exposed his affair with Alison, he confronts her and scares her out of Rosewood. When Hanna and her mother Ashley confront Wilden over his involvement with Alison, the police officer threatens them too, and so Ashley runs the detective over with her car. Unfortunately, Wilden then disappears, with his car's dash camera recording the entire incident. To protect Hanna and Ashley, the LIARS dispose of the car in the lake. When Spencer follows Mona to uncover the A-Team's latest plot, she finds what is supposedly Toby's dead body, causing her to emotionally break down and be admitted to the Radley institution. Mona helps her get released from Radley in exchange for joining the ever-expanding A-Team. Upon being released from Radley, Spencer reunites with Toby, and the pair realize that they have both been coerced into helping A against their wills in the hopes of protecting each other. And so Spencer reconciles her relationship with Toby, and the pair begin their own investigation into uncovering the identity of the redcoat-wearing leader of the A-Team. After Spencer comes clean about her involvement with the A-Team to the other LIARS, they are trapped alongside Mona inside a lodge that is set on fire, with Toby framed as the arsonist. The LIARS are freed by the mysterious redcoat, who appears to be an alive and well Alison DiLaurentis. Mona explains that whoever is the real redcoat is wearing a lifelike Alison mask. As the season comes to a close, the girls find Detective Wilden's police car, despite having disposed of it in the lake. They find the recording of Ashley running over Wilden, but are shocked to see a continuation of the footage revealing Jenna and Shayna arriving to save Wilden's life. A then instructs them all to look in the trunk of the car, and they are all shocked and horrified by what they see. In Season 4 of Pretty Little Liars, the LIARS discover a dead pig has been placed inside the trunk of Wilden's car. As the girls flee the scene, Mona attempts to regain their trust by disposing of the incriminating dashcam footage that would implicate Hannah's mother Ashley. Mona also reveals to the LIARS the identities of the two people working together that killed Garrett, Melissa Hastings and Detective Wilden himself. But before the LIARS can do anything with this revelation, Wilden's body is found murdered, and A threatens Mona and the LIARS with footage of them stealing the dashcam footage, implicating them all in the detective's death. And so, the LIARS are now forced to align with Mona to clear their names and bring down the mysterious leader of the A-Team. Melissa swears to Spencer that she was only working with Wilden due to the detective blackmailing her, and she had no knowledge of his plot to murder Garrett to ensure he couldn't expose his corruption. Melissa also explains that it was Wilden who burned down the lodge in an attempt to kill the LIARS, and that Melissa had sent Jenna and Shauna to watch over Spencer and her friends. Detective Gabriel Holbrook is placed in charge of solving the murders of fellow police officers Garrett and Wilden. He quickly turns his sights on the Pretty Little Liars, who seem to be very involved in all of the criminal chaos happening around Rosewood. Spencer and Toby have fully rekindled their relationship, though Toby is still being pressured by A into doing their bidding, in exchange for information on his mother Marion, who died while admitted at the Radley institution. Despite Radley claiming that Marion's death was self-inflicted, Toby discovers that Marion may have been murdered. Spencer then learns that Alison's mother Jessica was on Radley's board of trustees at the time of Marion's death, meaning she could have been involved in the cover-up. Aria breaks up with Ezra, giving him space to parent his child and figure out his life. In the meantime, Aria begins taking self-defense classes and begins a relationship with her instructor, Jake. But when Ezra discovers that Malcolm is not actually his son, sending him into a depression, he seeks comfort in Aria, leading to the pair reconciling. Paige throws her girlfriend Emily a surprise birthday party at the lake, where Jenna is nearly drowned to death by a mystery attacker. Shauna proclaims that she and Jenna have long been scared of Cece Drake, and believes she is responsible for this attack. The LIARS begin looking more into Cece's past, discovering that she was kicked out of college for pushing someone down a flight of stairs. Meanwhile, when Hanna finds a gun in Ashley's closet, she begins to fear that her mother is in fact Wilden's killer. And so, Hanna attempts to bury the gun, only to be caught by the police. The police determine that the gun is a match for Wilden's murder weapon, leading to Ashley's arrest. To clear Ashley's name and prove her renewed loyalty to Hanna, Mona confesses to the police fleece that she is Wilden's killer. This earns back the trust of the LIARS, allowing her to officially join their ranks, but also leads to Mona being sent back to Radley. A mysterious stranger named Travis then comes forward with eyewitness testimony of Wilden's death, declaring he saw a blonde woman committing the murder, clearing both Ashley and Mona's names. Caleb returns home after reconciling with his father Jamie, but his reunion with Hanna is short-lived. He meets a girl named Miranda from the strange neighboring town of Ravenswood, and they bond over their shared upbringings and foster care. Despite still being in love with Hanna, Caleb realizes that Miranda needs his help in her own familial struggles, leading him to remain in Ravenswood with her, to Hanna's dismay. As the LIARS continue their investigation into unmasking A, the mystery antagonist drives a car into Emily's house, seemingly trying to kill her. As her house is being repaired, Alison's mother Jessica invites Emily to live with her. In the DiLaurentis home's basement, Emily discovers that the red coat wearing A has built a secret lair for themselves. The seemingly oblivious Jessica also reveals that she had tried to keep Alison away from Cece after the girls developed a toxic habit of posing as each other. Emily is then kidnapped by Redcoat and nearly killed by a saw, before a second Redcoat arrives to save her. Aria uses her newly learned self-defense skills to defeat the villainous Redcoat, revealing the antagonist to be none other than Cece Drake. As Cece escapes capture, Alison DiLaurentis reveals herself as the good Redcoat to her friends, proving herself to be alive and well. On the night of her disappearance, she had been attacked, presumed dead, and buried alive, though saved by a kindly psychic named Mrs. Grunwald. Alison proclaims that she wants to return to her normal life, but can't because it isn't safe, forcing her to flee once again. Now knowing that Alison is alive, the other LIARS make it their mission to uncover the truth behind her fake death and disappearance, figure out whose body was buried in her place, and find out who the mystery Big A is that has sent Alison into hiding and masterminded all of the chaotic events happening in and around Rosewood. Spencer becomes obsessive in her quest to uncover Alison's mystery antagonizer. She begins taking drugs to stay focused, drawing the concern of her friends and family, eventually getting her sent to rehab. Emily tells Paige that Alison is still alive. Paige is concerned for Emily's well-being and asks for her girlfriend to stop helping Alison. When Emily refuses, Paige alerts the police that Alison is still alive, hoping the professionals can bring a swift and easy conclusion to the case. Emily forgives Paige for this act, understanding that it was only done to protect her, but ultimately breaks up with Paige due to no longer being able to trust her. Shauna then reveals herself to the LIARS to be a childhood friend of Alison's who knew of her survival and has been helping her live in hiding and uncovering who was threatening to harm her. When Jenna became a suspect, Shauna chose to get close to her to investigate. After finding Alison's diary in his possessions, Spencer, Emily, and Hanna theorize that Ezra may in fact be A. Aria is devastated when she learns that Ezra has been secretly stalking Alison and the other LIARS. Ezra swears that he is not A and confesses that he had secretly dated Alison before her disappearance. After her supposed murder, Ezra began writing a true crime novel chronicling the mystery, and even began his relationship with Aria as a ruse to gather more information. Ultimately, Ezra's research has led to his own prime suspect in Alison's disappearance and supposed murder, her own mother, Jessica. Ezra swears that he genuinely fell in love with Aria and stopped his writing after their relationship became real, only resuming writing after their recent brief breakup. Aria isn't sure how to feel about this revelation or if she'll ever be able to trust Ezra again. Detective Holbrook then finds and arrests Cece Drake, who has been identified by Travis as Detective Wilden's killer. Cece refuses to talk about Wilden, but does claim to know the identity of the body that was buried in Alison's place, as well as who was responsible for that murder. This turns Holbrook's attention to Spencer Hastings, who not only recently went to rehab for drug addiction, but had, according to Cece, been seen erratically confronting Alison the night of her disappearance. Holbrook brings in Spencer's family to question them, causing Spencer's father Peter to panic, as he had been secretly concerned of his daughter's guilt, even burning the field hockey stick to try to protect her. Melissa secretly comforts her father, assuring him that Spencer was innocent. As the season comes to a close, Alison tasks another of her secret accomplices, Noel, to call together the LIARS to finally reveal everything about the day of her disappearance. Alison had long been the target of the mysterious and antagonistic A, and was determined to uncover their identity. First, after Alison overheard Ian's love for Melissa over her, she stole copies of his stalkerish NAT tapes to blackmail her main suspect of being a Jenna. As Alison confronted Jenna over her manipulative relationship with Toby, she received a new threatening message from A, proving Jenna's innocence. Alison then drugged her friends Aria, Spencer, Emily, and Hanna with sleeping pills to confirm that they too were not the menacing A. Alison was then confronted by Ezra, who was angry that she lied about her age, leading him to regret sleeping with her, but ultimately he helped her confront Ian, her next suspect, as A. Alison threatened to expose all of Ian's NAT videos to the public if he was in fact A, and continued harassing her. Alison then confronted Aria's father Byron over his affair before returning to her sleeping friends, only to discover that Spencer had woken up due to her own secret drug addiction. Spencer confronted Alison, who explained herself and promised to keep Spencer's drug habit a secret, leading to Spencer going back to sleep and forgetting the confrontation. Alison then finally returned home, having exhausted all of her list of suspects. It is there that Alison was struck on the head with a rock by a mystery assailant as her mother Jessica watched in horror. Thinking her daughter was dead, Jessica then buried Alison alive, wanting to protect whoever committed the assault. Alison was then rescued by the psychic Mrs. Grunwald before being found covered in blood and dirt by Mona, who helped Alison flee town and suggested she fake her death to evade any further violence at the hands of A. As Alison has been trying to uncover the identity of A in the time since, she has also been serving as the protector of her friends, including saving Spencer from Ian at the top of the church bell tower and pulling the liars out of the fiery lodge. Unfortunately, Alison's revelatory reunion with her friends is interrupted by the arrival of A, who begins opening fire on the pretty little liars. As A corners the liars and prepares to kill them, Ezra arrives to intervene. During the struggle, Ezra is shot in the stomach, while A flees the scene. In the end, as the liars call for help in the hopes of saving Ezra's life, a mysterious figure murders Alison's mother Jessica DiLaurentis and buries her in the Hastings family's backyard. In season 5 of Pretty Little Liars, Aria rushes Ezra to the hospital, saving his life, while the other liars are confronted by the shooter once again, who reveals themselves to be none other than Shauna. Shauna reveals that despite originally trying to help Alison, after learning of the ways she tormented and bullied countless people in Rosewood, including her beloved Jenna, Shauna determined that Alison must be taken down. It was Shauna who set fire to the lodge, and it was Shauna who shot Ezra. As Shauna holds Alison and the liars at gunpoint, Aria sneaks up behind her and strikes her, accidentally killing her to save her friends. With A now supposedly dead, Alison is free to return to her normal life in Rosewood. To cover up the true reason for her years-long disappearance and presumed murder, Alison claims to the police that she was kidnapped and held captive. This forces Alison's friends to reluctantly go along with the lie, despite believing that they should all tell the truth. Alison then helps Cece Drake flee the country, explaining to the liars that Cece has actually been helping her from the beginning, posing as a redcoat to distract the real A. Mona begins a relationship with Aria's little brother Mike and forms an army of Alison's past victims, including Melissa and Lucas. With Alison back and A seemingly defeated, the liars return to their normal lives and typical teenage drama. Aria feels guilt over killing Shauna and seeks comfort in her recovering ex-boyfriend Ezra, leading to the two reconciling their romance. As Paige and Emily work together to mentor a new member of the swim team, Sydney, they forgive each other's past actions and agree to be friends. Alison confesses that Emily's love for her was never one-sided, and the pair share a kiss. Emily is then shocked to discover that Sydney has secretly been friends with Jenna for years, and the pair align to seek vengeance on all of those they believe have wronged them. But as Emily and Paige finally begin to rekindle their romance, Paige's family fear for her safety in the murderous Rosewood and send her away, breaking up the young lovers for good. The return of Alison has left Hanna spiraling over her own identity amongst her friends, leading her to begin shoplifting once again. Caleb returns to Rosewood, traumatized by his supernatural experiences in Ravenswood. His friends help him cope responsibly with his emotions, and Hanna accepts him back as her boyfriend. Meanwhile, the Rosewood police discover that the identity of the dead body buried in Alison's grave is Bethany Young, a teenage patient who had supposedly escaped escaped Radley. Aria begins volunteering at Radley in the hopes of helping the liars determine why Bethany was buried in Alison's grave. While working at Radley, Aria learns that Jessica DiLaurentis was extremely close to Bethany, bringing her presents and checking her out of the institution on several occasions. When Jessica DiLaurentis' body is found buried in the Hastings family's backyard, the liars become determined to uncover the killer. Jason is their first suspect, but he has an alibi and claims he suspects Peter Hastings. When more evidence is uncovered that points to Peter, his wife Veronica leaves him. Spencer discovers that her father Peter and sister Melissa are hiding a secret from her. Melissa tries to convince Spencer that she's in danger and must flee the country, but Spencer refuses to join her, and so Melissa flees on her own, leaving a recorded message that finally reveals her big secret. The night of Alison's disappearance, Melissa had seen a drugged-up Spencer wielding a shovel while confronting Alison, after which Melissa found a seemingly dead Alison's body. Fearing that Spencer had killed Alison, Melissa tried to cover up the crime by burying the body, only to later discover that the victim was not a dead Alison, but instead the buried alive Bethany Young. And so, Spencer now suspects that her father Peter killed Jessica to prevent her from targeting Spencer for Bethany's death. Amidst all of this new drama, A reveals himself to still be at large, blowing up Toby's house to prove their danger. This inspires Toby to become a police officer in order to protect the ones he loves and expose the corruption in Rosewood. A stranger named Cyrus then goes to the police to falsely confess to kidnapping Alison. Secretly, he was blackmailed by Alison, and this callous act finally convinces the liars that Alison's plots have gone too far. Alison is willing to lie and manipulate anyone to get her way, prompting the liars to cut ties with her. The liars get Mona to help them take down Alison, but as Mona assembles her army, she discovers that they've all abandoned her to side with Alison. The liars realize that from the beginning of their friendship with Alison, she has manipulated them all, perfectly selecting her friend group to become her ultimate playthings. And so they now believe that Alison is A as part of one big narcissistic game. In turn, Alison frames Spencer for killing Bethany, exposing her past drug problem to the police. To help absolve Spencer, the liars sneak into Radley to look for clues about Bethany's past, discovering that Jessica DiLaurentis had previously had an affair with Bethany's father. But this is not enough to prevent Spencer from being arrested for Bethany's murder. Meanwhile, Mona discovers that Alison was bitter at Bethany due to her mother Jessica's affair, and lured the girl to Rosewood to have her killed. As Mona calls the liars to alert them that she now has evidence that can confirm that Alison is A, she is brutally murdered, devastating the liars and ruining their chances of taking down Alison. 3 months later, everyone assumes that Alison killed Mona, though she swears her innocence. Mona's body is missing, and the new police officer Toby joins his colleagues in uncovering the truth. The liars begin their own investigation into Mona's murder, finding security footage of her being attacked by a blonde woman, further pointing to Alison as Mona's killer. The police arrest Alison, now believing her to also be responsible for Bethany's murder, clearing Spencer's name. As Toby continues working with the police, Spencer becomes frustrated that he won't reveal confidential information from the Mona investigation to the liars, and so Spencer teams up with Caleb for her own investigation, discovering a storage unit falsely rented under Hanna's name that is filled with evidence that A intends to use to frame the liars. Spencer continues to pressure Toby into sacrificing his career to help the liars, while his boss Detective Tanner gives him the ultimatum to choose between his badge and his girlfriend. Ultimately, Toby chooses Spencer out of his love for her. As A continues to torment the liars, they no longer suspect the imprisoned Alison as being the mystery figure. Alison gives a genuine apology to her friends for the ways that she has used and abused them and countless others. And so the liars decide to help prove their friend is innocent of Mona and Bethany's murders, which they no longer believe that she committed. But this will be easier said than done, as Mona's clothes are found by the police covered in Hanna's blood. And so Hanna is arrested, joining Alison in prison, and now in similar need of the liars' help to clear her name. Meanwhile, Mike is distraught over the murder of his girlfriend Mona. He reveals to the liars that Mona had previously plotted to fake her death and frame Alison for her murder. But now Mike believes that Mona is truly dead. As Alison's trial for the murder of Mona begins, the liars want Mike to testify, but before he can, he is brutally attacked by the sinister A. Ultimately, Alison is found guilty of murder, and due to A's framing, all of the other liars are arrested as her accomplices. As Aria, Spencer, Emily, and Hanna are loaded into a van to be transported to prison, they are attacked by the masked A, who gasses the guards and kidnaps the girls. The liars then wake up in A's life-size dollhouse, containing exact replicas of each of the liars' bedrooms. While exploring the dollhouse, the girls shockingly find Mona, alive and well, who has been trapped there since her supposed murder and forced by the masked A to play the role of Alison DiLaurentis. The Hastings family teams up with Toby, Caleb, and Ezra to find the missing liars and take down the villainous A. Toby manages to convince his boss, Detective Tanner, that the girls have been framed and are the subjects of the mysterious A's Machiavellian plot. As the season comes to a close, A forces the trapped liars to throw a prom inside the dollhouse. They use this as cover to cut the dollhouse's power in an attempt to escape. Spencer discovers that A's real name is Charles and finds old footage that appears to show Jessica DiLaurentis with 3 young children, Alison, Jason, and another son, presumably the mysterious Charles. As the liars flee the dollhouse, they realize they are fenced inside a massive forest compound with no hope of escape. In Season 6, the Pretty Little Liars have spent several weeks trapped inside Charles's dollhouse, tortured by their captor. During this time, they meet another kidnapped victim, a young woman who has gone crazy during her extended period in captivity. In a desperate attempt to escape, the liars decide to burn down the dollhouse, drawing the attention of their friends and the police. The liars are now finally free, and the police discover that the other mystery captive is named Sarah Harvey. Having her name cleared as Alison is released from prison and joins the liars as they try to determine the connection between the villainous Charles and the DiLaurentis family. Jason strangely recalls having an imaginary friend named Charlie as a child, leading him and Alison to confront their father Kenneth for answers. Kenneth confirms that Charles is in fact their older brother, who after trying to harm an infant Alison was sent to live at Radley, where he supposedly died at age 16. Despite this, Mona confirms to the liars what she learned from her own prior stay at Radley, that Charles faked his death and is still very much alive. Meanwhile, the liars struggle from PTSD due to their time as Charles's prisoners. The similarly traumatized Sarah begins living with Emily, leading to the pair developing a strong bond that grows into a romance. Aria hosts a photo gallery contest that is taken over by Charles, who displays disturbing images of the liars from when they were held captive in the dollhouse. This stunt leads to the liars being banned from their senior prom and high school graduation due to fear for the safety of the other students. Despite being banned from prom, when the liars learn that Alison is meeting Charles there, they race to confront their tormentor. Unfortunately, the girls are too late, as Charles has already kidnapped Alison and fled the scene. Mona and Sarah help the liars find a secret lair, where Alison is trapped alongside the unconscious Jason and Kenneth. And that's when Charles reveals himself to actually be Cece Drake, who reveals her entire history. Cece was born Charles DiLaurentis, but was never accepted by her father as his transgender daughter. As a young child, Cece accidentally dropped an infant Alison into scalding bathwater, which Kenneth used as an excuse to send her to Radley. While at Radley, Cece befriended fellow patient Bethany Young, who accepted her identity as a girl. But one night, Bethany snapped and murdered Toby's mother Marin, then blamed the death on Cece. Jessica DiLaurentis paid off Detective Wilden to cover up the murder to protect her child, unaware that Cece was innocent. Cece spent the next several years under heavy sedation at Radley, before faking her death and having her mother Jessica finally accept her as her daughter Charlotte DiLaurentis. While still admitted at Radley, Charlotte began receiving more freedom, and was even allowed to leave to attend school. Charlotte assumed the alias of Cece Drake and befriended Alison and even had a romantic tryst with Jason, both unaware that Cece was secretly their sister. As Charlotte grew attached to her family and prepared to reveal her true identity, Bethany Young broke out of Radley and sought revenge against Jessica for having an affair with her father. Mistaking Alison for Bethany, Charlotte struck her with a rock, seemingly killing her. And so, Jessica DiLaurentis buried the presumed dead Alison alive to protect Charlotte from punishment. Meanwhile, Mona sought revenge against Alison for years of torment, and coincidentally mistook the real Bethany for Alison, striking her with a shovel and leaving her for dead. Melissa Hastings then found Bethany's body and believed believing a drug-abusing Spencer to be responsible, she buried Bethany alive to cover up the crime. While still a patient at Radley, Charlotte felt great remorse for hurting her sister and grew bitter at the LIARS for thriving in the absence of their friend. And so, when Mona was exposed as the original A and admitted to Radley, Charlotte learned all of her secret tactics and then secretly took over A's game for herself to ruin the LIARS' lives. Now, Charlotte reveals that Sarah has been working as her secret accomplice, the Redcoat, and they plot to end A's game once and for all by blowing up the building and killing every single liar and remaining member of the DiLaurentis family. Emily manages to subdue Sarah, and Spencer manages to deactivate the bomb, while the LIARS affirm to Charlotte that they understand why she committed all of her acts, convincing her to stand down and officially end A's reign of terror. 5 years later, the LIARS have all left Rosewood to live their own independent lives in peace. Spencer is now a political lobbyist in Washington, D.C. and has broken up with Toby. Hanna works as a fashion designer in New York City and is now engaged to a man named Jordan. Aria works for a publishing company in Boston and is dating her colleague Liam. Emily lies to her friends about still attending college, though secretly she has dropped out and now works as a barista in San Diego. Alison has remained in Rosewood and now works as a high school teacher. She has forgiven Charlotte for her actions and wants to help her get released from the psychiatric hospital. But to do so, the other LIARS need to return to Rosewood to testify that they are comfortable with their tormentor being free once again. And so, the LIARS return to their hometown and emotionally reunite. But after Charlotte is released from the hospital, she is shockingly found murdered, with the Pretty Little LIARS being the prime suspects. Forced to remain in Rosewood until the end of the investigation, the LIARS become determined to solve Charlotte's murder. Though that will be easier said than done, as a new mystery antagonist known as Uber A arrives in town to terrorize the LIARS once again. Amidst this new investigation, Emily continues lying about her life in California. Eventually, Hanna confronts Emily, forcing her to confess to being a broke college dropout who has been forced to sell her eggs for money. Unfortunately, someone breaks into the medical clinic to steal Emily's eggs for their own mystery and most likely nefarious purposes. Ezra is now a successful author but has given up on writing his second book. And so, Aria's boss at the publishing company tasks her with ensuring that Ezra finishes his work. Desperate to appease her boss, Aria begins writing the book herself under Ezra's name. Eventually, Aria confesses the truth to Ezra, who was inspired to work with his former lover to finish the book together, rekindling their romance in the process. Spencer's mother Veronica is running for state senate, and Spencer agrees to help with her campaign. But things get complicated when Spencer realizes that her mother's political rival Christine also happens to be the mother of Toby's new girlfriend Yvonne. In the end, Veronica wins the election and Toby stays by Yvonne's side, despite also helping the LIARS in their attempt to uncover the identity of Uber A. Spencer's romantic life gets even more complicated when she begins a relationship with her best friend's ex-boyfriend Caleb. In their investigation, Spencer, Toby, and Mona find a secret room inside Radley, which contains evidence that reveals that Charlotte was actually adopted by the DiLaurentis family and that her real birth mother is a mystery woman named Mary Drake. Meanwhile, Alison falls in love with Elliot, the doctor who helped rehabilitate Charlotte in the psychiatric hospital. The pair quickly get married, but Alison's newlywed bliss comes to a quick end when she falls down a flight of stairs and begins being visited by visions of the late Detective Wilden and Jessica DiLaurentis. Concerned by her own mental state, Alison chooses to check herself into the psychiatric hospital. Hannah's fiance Jordan arrives in Rosewood, asking her to return with him to New York City. But Hanna chooses to stay in Rosewood, determined to help her friends catch Uber A. Hanna decides to use herself as bait to lure out the villain, and while staging the trap, she and Caleb profess their continued love for each other and share a kiss. Unfortunately, Hannah's plan goes awry, and her friends are unable to save her from actually being captured by Uber A, who leaves behind the message, "Thanks for giving me Hanna, you're free to go, signed AD." But it's not just AD the Uber A that the LIARS have to contend with, as Mary Drake is revealed to be the secret twin sister of Jessica DiLaurentis, working alongside a Wilden mask-wearing Elliot. Believing the LIARS to be responsible for Charlotte's death, they have been working together to ruin their lives, as Mary is Charlotte's mother and Elliot was her secret lover. They had manipulated Alison into checking herself into the psychiatric hospital, giving her new duplicitous husband Elliot full control of her home and finances. In Season 7, Ubere, now known as the mysterious AD, gives the Liars 24 hours to find Charlotte's real killer, or else Hanna will die. The Liars suspect that Alison is responsible and choose to turn over incriminating evidence, pointing to her as the killer in order to save Hanna. This leads to complicated emotions for Emily, whose old romantic feelings for Alison begin to resurface. When Emily visits Alison at the psychiatric hospital, she warns that Elliot and Mary Drake have secretly been scheming together for revenge. Luckily, Hanna manages to escape AD, though she doesn't know her captor's identity, and begins struggling with PTSD from her torture at Ubere's hands. With all of the Liars now reunited, they work together to expose and bring down AD, with their main suspects being Mary Drake and Elliot, as they have a similar motive to avenge Charlotte's murder. Realizing that the Liars are onto him, Elliot takes Alison from the hospital and flees. The Liars pursue him, ultimately leading to Hanna running him over with her car and killing him. The Liars work together to bury Elliot's body and cover up his death, and in the process they discover that his real identity is Archer Dunhill. And while they first assume that this confirms his identity as AD, the Liars soon discover that Ubere is still very much active and will continue to stop at nothing to expose Charlotte's real killer. Meanwhile, Spencer breaks up with Caleb after realizing that he is still in love with Hanna. Toby proposes to his girlfriend Yvonne, and Ezra proposes to Aria, with everyone hoping they can finally get their happily ever after. Alison is released from the psychiatric hospital into the care of Mary Drake, who swears that she was unaware of the psychological abuse that Archer put her through, as she was simply acting out of despair due to the death of her daughter Charlotte. Mary reveals to the Liars that she had been committed to Radley as a teenager after her twin sister Jessica framed her for the death of an infant that she was babysitting. Alison also discovers that while she was under sedation at the mental hospital, AD had impregnated her with Emily's stolen eggs. When Alison tells Emily about this revelation, the two decide to begin a relationship and raise the baby together. Elsewhere, Jenna is back in town and working alongside Noel and Sarah, though her blindness has returned. Jenna reveals to the Liars that she had befriended Charlotte and is now working with AD to avenge her death. As Jenna's plans grow more concerning, Sarah warns Emily that Alison may be in danger. This warning proves truthful when Alison is attacked by AD, though she manages to fend off the assailant. Tragically, Sarah is then found murdered, adding another victim for the Liars to avenge. While investigating Mary Drake for her possible involvement with AD, the Liars discover a secret cellar belonging to Jessica DiLaurentis. Inside, the friends find surveillance photos that Jessica had taken of them all, as well as proof that she had authorized her sister Mary to undergo electroshock therapy at the mental hospital. The Liars also discover that Mary had another secret child, a sibling to the late Charlotte and cousin to Alison. The Liars next suspect that Noel Kahn is AD. They find footage of Noel working with Charlotte to torture them while they were all trapped inside the dollhouse. Hanna takes matters into her own hands and kidnaps Noel to force him into confessing. Unfortunately, Jenna arrives to rescue Noel and holds the Liars at gunpoint. As Noel attacks the Liars, he trips and is accidentally killed by his own axe. Jenna then opens fire on the fleeing Liars, shooting and seriously injuring Spencer. But before Spencer can be killed by Jenna, she is rescued by Mary Drake. Jenna escapes with the mysterious AD, and they blame the now dead Noel Kahn for all of Ubere's crimes. As Spencer recovers from her injuries, Mary confesses that she is in fact her mystery child. Spencer's mother Veronica confirms that Peter Hastings had slept with Mary Drake, mistaking her for his then mistress Jessica DiLaurentis. When Mary was sent back to the mental hospital, Veronica agreed to adopt Spencer to raise her as her own child alongside Peter. When Mary tried to re-enter his daughter's life to connect with her, Peter and Jessica plotted to keep her away, going as far as planning to kill her. And so, Mary murdered Jessica and buried her in Peter's yard. AD then gives the Liars a board game, which upon its completion will lead them to Ubere's in-game revelation. As the friends work together to finish the game, AD blackmails Aria into joining the A-Team by threatening to report her previous underage relationship with Ezra to the police. And so, on AD's orders, a reluctant Aria secretly commits many sinister acts against against her friends, including destroying the nursery of Alison and Emily's unborn child. Eventually, Mona helps the Liars discover Aria's betrayal, devastating them all. Although they first choose to cut Aria from their lives, the Liars are ultimately convinced by Ezra to forgive her. Amidst all of the chaos and uncertainty, Caleb proposes to Hanna, and they get married in an impromptu ceremony at the courthouse. Toby and Yvonne get into a car accident which leaves Yvonne mortally wounded. The pair decide to get married in the hospital before Yvonne succumbs to her wounds and tragically dies. Toby finds comfort in his high school sweetheart Spencer, leading to the pair rekindling their old love. As the Liars get closer to completing AD's game, Mona reveals the truth about Charlotte's death. Mona had discovered that Charlotte was faking being reformed to get out of the mental hospital and had been plotting to resume her role as A to further torture the Liars. To spare her friends more torment, Mona killed Charlotte. The sympathetic Liars have Mona placed into the care of Dr. Sullivan before being led to the final stage of AD's game. The Liars are called to the site of Archer Dunhill's body, after which the police arrive and arrest them all. At the station, the Liars are all prepared to accept their fate, but Mary Drake arrives and shockingly takes the blame for Archer's death. Mary feels remorse for all of her actions, and had only worked alongside the duplicitous Archer due to him blackmailing her with the knowledge of Jessica's murder. And so, with their names cleared and Charlotte's killer exposed, AD's game officially ends. The Liars are free to live their lives in peace, and the mysterious Uber departs Rosewood for good, their identity never exposed. That is until 1 year later. Aria and Ezra are planning their wedding while also celebrating the massive success of their book, which will soon be adapted into a movie. Emily and Alison are engaged and living happily with their newborn twins, Lily and Grace. Alison still works at Rosewood High and has taken it upon herself to ensure no other students behave as horribly as she did when she was younger. Mona is released from psychiatric care and moves in with Hanna and Caleb. Despite Hannah's loyalty to her friend, the duplicitous Mona teams up with the mysterious AD to terrorize the Liars once again. As the Liars all prepare for Aria's wedding, Spencer is kidnapped by an escape from prison Mary Drake and the mysterious AD, who finally reveals himself to be Alex Drake, Mary's third secret child and the twin sister of Spencer. Mary explains that she sold Alex to a family in London in order to pay her way out of being institutionalized at Radley. After growing up in London, Alex eventually met and fell in love with Rin, the ex-boyfriend of Melissa and Spencer. Rin revealed to Alex all about her real family and long-lost twin sister. This led to Alex connecting and bonding with her other sister Charlotte, and upon her death, Alex finally arrived in Rosewood to seek revenge. She manipulated many people into joining her A-team, including Jenna, by offering to pay for her new eye surgery. When Rin failed to see Alex the same way he saw Spencer, Alex murdered him and turned his ashes into a diamond necklace. Although she did use Rin to father Alison and Emily's twin daughters. Now, Alex has grown jealous of Spencer's life and wants to take it for herself. And so, as the series comes to a close, Alex captures Ezra to ruin Aria's wedding and keeps him imprisoned with Spencer, allowing Alex to pose as her twin to infiltrate the Liars. The still blind Jenna uses her heightened sense of smell to realize that Spencer is not herself and redeems herself by warning Toby. Mona confesses that she only rejoined the A-team after being threatened with death and helps the Liars uncover AD's secret lair. There, the Liars find both Alex and Spencer, unsure of which one is their true friend. Toby is able to determine the real Spencer based on their love for each other, leading to Alex and Mary Drake's arrest. In the end, Aria and Ezra get married in front of all of their family and friends, before the Liars all go their separate ways once again, though now knowing that they will always be bonded by their friendship. Secretly, Mona has captured Alex and Mary to hold captive in her own dollhouse, as revenge for the suffering her and her friends endured at their hands. And elsewhere in Rosewood, a new group of high school friends intend to sleep over, where their bully leader Addison is seemingly killed, restarting the cycle for a new group of pretty little liars.